tip.
Good afternoon. It is June 26, 2019. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by William Nosey, co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on today, Will? Happy summer. I'm glad we're doing the pod back on Wednesday at our normal time. I feel a lot better about it. I got some questions for you right off the bat. Are you familiar with the Terminator movies?
I've seen Terminators before. I don't know if I've seen all of them.
Perfect. Yep, that's plenty. Have you seen RoboCop?
I stop asking me things that they're going to make fun of me for. No, I have not seen RoboCop.
Okay, but you get the general idea of RoboCop. Cyborg, half human, half machine.
It was a
robot
great
cop.
It was a great Kanye West song on 808s and Heartbreaks. And great is a vague word.
All right, so you get the general idea.
no
Bad
idea.
news is it's happening. It's happening in California. They have instituted a RoboCop. It is not a half man, half robot like in the movie, but it is I'm going to call it a elongated R2-D2 looking machine that putters around the park. Kind of similar. I don't know if you have them out in the grocery stores out there, but we have I think it's called Larry or something. Little robot that goes around the grocery stores and lets people know about spills, and I don't know. I think it does other nefarious things. I don't trust it. But there's one. It's around the park. It's got 360 degree viewing that goes back to headquarters. They say they're putting it in areas that the cops just don't have time to keep patrolling. I think this is the beginning of the robot takeover.
Are you
Thoughts?
You're concerned about the robot takeover? I've already kind of accepted that even if we identify these robots are taking over, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Like, you might as well just accept it right now. It's,
Well, not with that attitude. We can't just let this happen.
all right.
I think we have to put.
There's
we have to put masks on and put like sticks around it so it gets trapped in a square. It can't get out like a Roomba.
I really can't imagine a situation where we suddenly identify that a robot's about to take over the world and there's still something we can do about it. Like, once you're able to identify it, it's too late. It's over. It's done.
That's why we got to stop it now.
Well, these things that everybody's listening to this podcast on, all this stuff that we're doing to create all this, all the interns that we don't have, that we use the technology to just cover for, is leading to it. It's pretty much inevitable. It's like global warming. The only way to stop it was to not invent the car however many years ago. We're kind of doomed ever since. Yeah, this is the hopeless podcast. You're listening to Will Lehman, your host right now. It's all going downhill right now. Robots are taking over the world. The ozone's collapsing. I don't know what other. Apparently, people aren't very nice to one another to begin with. Well, welcome to 2019.
Will Lehman, pro robot, doesn't believe in space. All right, so we got the main things down. Got it.
I'm not pro robot. I'm just saying there's not a whole lot we can do about it. All right, if this Terminator
I told you
scenario,
the solution. We put some sticks around it, and then it gets stuck. Or I don't know, like in the movies, you spray paint the video so it can't see the lens. I got all the solutions over here. I think you're just pro robot, and now I'm concerned you're going to tell the other robots, and they're going to all of a sudden there's going to be a bunch of RoboCops at my door any minute.
They're listening to you right now. Everyone is, especially the robots. But you know what? You should look at it this way.
I'm always willing to have some new listeners.
Exactly. I was about to say, we just gained. You don't even know how many listeners we just gained. Every robot in the world, we're on the radar. All right, we have a new target audience. Their feedback is a little quiet. You don't necessarily hear it. They're more of showers than speakers. What is it? So this movie here, it's a robot versus Terminator. This is happening. Is that what the whole point of this is?
This isn't a movie. This is real life.
All right. Well, I don't think anyone really goes to the grocery store anyways. I almost got hit by somebody yesterday at the grocery store. They were restocking one of the shelves, and I kind of bent over to get something on the lower shelf, and right behind me was somebody stocking. Apparently they were done stocking and they went to move the big giant cart thing that the whole freight load is on, and I'm right in front of it, bent over looking at something just stupidly like that. I didn't realize they were going to move, and I get bumped into by this thing. I really should have just screamed and said I broke my leg and just tried to force some lawsuit out of all this. But if anything, you should just stop going to the grocery store. Things like that could happen to you. You just order it online. Use that Amazon company. It seems to be the.
So, want me to involve more robots? Absolutely not. I will not do that. I'll go do a normal people thing, but you got knocked over. So did you actually get knocked over? Did you get
No,
bumped into?
no, I almost did. I dodged it. I stood up at the last second. They felt really bad because they
Was
actually didn't see me, but I didn't think they were
was
like moving anytime soon. They were just restocking the shelves with like this whole like freight load of it was like containers, like the plastic containers. I was looking for like the Ziploc containers, and the ones I got were like on the bottom shelf.
I'm gonna have to say it was a block. If you didn't give them room to maneuver, I think that's on you.
That's on me. It's a moving screen.
Yeah,
My
I
feet
think
weren't
it's a
set.
block.
I
Yeah.
was in the key.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like your feet might have been set, but if they didn't have time to adjust themselves, yeah, I think this might be on you.
Wow, I don't know. This is
Wow.
I hate grocery shopping. I talked about that way too much on the podcast. I despise grocery shopping, and this is just adding to the list of reasons of why I don't want to go to the store anymore. For certain things, you just have to. There's something about. It's amazing how instant everything is when you actually go to the store. Like you didn't have to wait the 2 days. I think
Yeah,
there's still
it's
some
all
value in it.
instant.
But watch out for the robots. It's already too late. All right, these phones they're getting awfully smart. The AI intelligence. Yeah, this has become the new conspiracy show. We're gonna get taken off Google and banned off every single platform, like that other crazy guy. Please don't do that to us. But if you do, go check out the website, lcalcb.com. There you can see some non-robot stories about Zach and I. We generally talk about sports and don't put the fear into the world. And there's a lot of good stuff on there, as well as some bio about Zach and I. And make sure, if you're not already, to follow Zach on his Twitter, which is...
Wicked Z-Man 24.
All right, let's get back on track. All right, Wicked Z-Man 24. What else we got to talk about today? Let's talk about some NBA free agency. This is just an ongoing saga of nothing's really happened from the last week to this week, and yet everybody has a story or a rumor or some sort of hypothetical scenario. I have no idea what's going to happen. I would say that's the most exciting thing about NBA free agency this particular year. Is there something that you're hoping for or expecting to happen that you may shock most people?
I would be interested for any of the I'm going to call it the top guys, all the K's, the Kevin Durant, the Kyrie, and the Kawhi. If they went somewhere other than the top two that they're kind of all projected to go to, where Kyrie is expected to go to Brooklyn, Durant's expected to either stay on the Warriors or go to the Knicks, and Kawhi either to the Clippers or to stay in Toronto. If those guys just went somewhere else, I think that would be interesting, because it's just kind of been like, oh yeah, this is the expectation. So I think if on Sunday, and I don't know if you noticed, but this year they're not doing midnight anymore. 6 o'clock is when it starts, so you don't have to stay up till the wee hours of the night to then.
I mean,
just to start your negotiations. I'm sure there was no talking going on now, but it'll be cool that all that stuff will come out, Sunday evening, and you'll be able to follow it all as it happens.
Well, it makes so much more sense to do that as somebody on the outside. Like, we're not involved. We're not in any locker rooms. There's nothing. We're not getting phone calls from anybody important. We're just hanging out waiting for the news. It's so much easier. I don't think everyone, like the very top guys, like I think those three guys you just mentioned, more or less would have announced the news on midnight if this were the normal hour. But for everyone else, they're waiting to see what happens with those three guys, and it may take a couple of hours or maybe even days after before they're able to figure out that. And this is all happening in the middle of the night. It just seems like a waste of great media attention for one, and a lot of good discussion. So I'm looking forward to this. You talked about all three of those guys more or less staying or already have their destination picked. Do you think those are the best destinations for that? Like, where is the best destination for Kawhi Leonard? I want to say Kevin Durant. That's a little obvious. If you play for a team that's gone to the 3 straight finals right now, it kind of seems like a no-brainer for him to stay there. But with Kawhi Leonard, I think you can make a very good argument for the Clippers. You can make a very good argument for staying in Toronto and just kind of running it back. Where do you think his best destination would be for him?
They just won the championship. You got to stay and run it back. You're going to have pretty much the same team. You can make some adjustments. You're definitely going to have a little more target on your back as the defending champs, but I think you got to go for it. Everyone's played together. The chemistry is only going to get a little bit stronger. I don't even if you were really planning on, I want to go to the Clippers. I want to be in California. I just don't think you walk away. You just won the MVP of the finals. You gotta go back.
All right, so
Even if it's just a 1 year.
so for entirely basketball reasons, you think that if Kawhi Leonard stays and is on the Toronto team right now, it's better than that team would be better than the Clipper team if he were to join that roster right now.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I think it's close. All right. Here's my problem. I can't tell.
Who is his best player? Who is his like running mate on the Clippers?
I really like Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams. I think those are two guys that you're really fortunate to have on a roster. I think any team in the NBA would be happy to have either of those guys.
I get what you're saying, but you take that over Gasol and Lowry.
Well, all right. Here's the hard thing: is trying to figure out, was Toronto's year a fluke? Was it all because of Kawhi Leonard, or are these guys actually good and can they be consistent? We've seen all year, or even in the past years, this Toronto team that more or less would break your heart at some point if you were a fan. They would just suddenly fall flat in their face, and then they would have games where they would look like a championship-esque team, and then they just wouldn't pan out. Now he's got the chance of gambling on which team does he really think this Toronto roster is. Are they a championship team? Is that the fluke, or is the fluke of them struggling over the past couple of years, which feels a little bit more like a trend, if you ask me. So, also, this roster is not going to age very well. Bringing back Marc Gasol wasn't a decision. He opted in. They're stuck with him. He just wanted to get paid. He's not going to make that much money any other time after this year. So that's a great signing. But is Marc Gasol is just another year older? Is he still going to be an effective player? Do you think Siakam will have the same year he had last year? Kyle Lowry certainly seems like a question mark. I never know what to expect out of him. The Van Vliet guy goes out of his mind in the playoffs after having a kid. That's something he's never done before, and you're expecting that to happen all over again? I just think there's just as many question marks there.
Couldn't you say all these things with the Clippers players? They got Gallinari, who he's always healthy all the time. I'm sure he'll still stay healthy again next year. And then I just feel like it drops off really quick. It's like, yep, you got Lou Williams, who
right. Well, here's the difference.
Been the sixth man for forever. You got some young guys. You got Landry Shamet. Some promise, but I think you could make all the same kind of nitpicky arguments.
I think it's close
at the top.
I think it's close, but I think if you take away Kawhi Leonard from the Toronto roster, they don't make the playoffs. I think if you take away Kawhi Leonard from the Clipper roster, they made the playoffs in the West last year. Barely, but still, the Toronto team wouldn't have been able to do that. That Toronto team in the West Coast without Kawhi Leonard, crazy hypothetical right now, would not have made the playoffs. They wouldn't have had nearly as much success. I don't think it would even be close. I think that's my only real argument to saying, like, yeah, I think this Clipper team makes a lot of sense. The guy wants to be on the West Coast. They're a pretty good team. I think they got a solid core around him. I think Doc Rivers is a great coach, and that just makes a lot of sense for me if this is really what he wants. So I agree that Toronto and the Clippers are the only options, though. I don't really see any other good destinations. I mean, he's a good enough player that he's going to improve any team that he goes on, but basketball-wise, I think he has the best chance at an NBA championship going to one of those two teams. But enough about Kawhi Leonard and hypotheticals. Let's go on to the Kyrie Irving one, which I think is even a better question right now. Where do you think his best home is? It really sounds like Brooklyn is his desired destination, but is that really the best basketball move? It feels very familiar to what he went through this year in Boston. Is it really about location, or should he go somewhere else? Should he go to the Lakers? Is there another destination? Like, if you're Kyrie Irving, where is the best destination for you to win a championship next year? Does that even exist?
It seems like he's got to be the second guy, but it just seems like he's a weird guy that just doesn't seem fun to hang out with, and like it just seems like, I think it's a little bit of short-term memory, but I mean, just kind of like the stories coming out that, it's in the morning and Brad Stevens goes, hey Kyrie, hey, good morning, how's it going? And he's just like, what does government mean to you? Like, hey man, I was just being friendly, all right? I don't really care how you're doing. Like, I don't need these esoteric questions. But it seems like it's all wrapped up that he's going to Brooklyn. The only things I'm hearing against that is that Brooklyn might not be super interested with him if Kevin Durant isn't also coming along with him, almost as if, we're kind of just looking for Kyrie to make
Well, it really seems crazy that he, and quite honestly, he needs to get better, and that seems kind of ridiculous to say. You would think most guys that reach kind of the level of success they have, like him, that you wouldn't have to really remind somebody like, hey, you need to go to the home this summer and you need to be better next year. You whatever you did last year didn't work. You got to do better than that. So I think number one he has to
Sure
do
didn't.
number one he has to do that. But I don't know if you could ever fix this locker room thing or if his constant unhappiness. I don't think it matters what team he goes on to. I think Brooklyn should be very cautious in doing this. I mean, Boston. I don't think Boston's like that disruptor, that corruptor. Then we don't have problems like that. Like nobody leaves Boston unhappy generally, and outside of Isaiah Thomas, who we only moved to get Kyrie Irving. I think most people are pretty happy with the organization of Boston. So it seems very strange for me that somebody's leaving there, and that should be a red flag if you're Brooklyn. Like, why is somebody leaving somewhere that most people are always okay with? I think it's a risky move, but I don't know where else did he go. Like, where else could Kyrie
And
Irving
the thing
go?
too is you're gonna have to. He's getting the max wherever he's going. He's getting the max, so it's not like there's no wiggle room. It's a bunch of money for 4 years.
And then you're stuck with him, or you got to move him again, and that sounds challenging. But if we remove Brooklyn, say if Brooklyn, it sounds like they're kind of getting bullied into getting him, but if they stand strong and say, you know what, we're going to go with D'Angelo. He's 4 years younger. We kind of like the potential. We more or less feel like we know who Kyrie Irving's going to be and what he can do. Where else? I mean, where else could he go if he doesn't come back to Boston?
I don't think he can come back to Boston at this point.
You don't think so? You don't think there's any hope for that at all? You think this is all done? Because that part
I
of me
think
kind of
it's. I
thinks
think
that
it's.
he may still stay, or he may still ask to stay, or maybe do a 1 year in Boston and see where the rest of the NBA shapes out next year.
I think that it's gone too far, or it went from no. He's told the the season ticket holders are coming back, and then it got weird, and it just got more weird, and then just all the things. It just like he's going to Brooklyn. I think all the fans, I guess like, me included, have just like he's gone. And so for him to come back now would just be super weird.
I'm not convinced that it would be. I mean, what has he actually said? We
He
have a
hasn't
whole
really said anything.
we have a whole bunch of reports, but yeah, I don't think he's the reports of him saying nothing have all been kind of translated into yeah, he's totally out. He's targeting Brooklyn, and he very well might be, but if they don't want him, what you don't? It's not like you really think he's burned the bridge that bad that he couldn't turn around if Brooklyn suddenly says no, we're gonna go with D'Angelo, that he couldn't turn around and call Danny and say, hey, let's do this one more time, and then Danny would be in the power seat of saying
I'm,
yes, no, or if you're gonna come back, this is what we need to happen.
I think that it could happen. I'm saying it would be really weird because I think we just as fans have just been like, oh no, he's out, and I think we've all been talking to our Brooklyn brethren in the same division, going, hey, good luck, have a blast with him.
Well, I do wish him good luck if he leaves. I'm not I'm it's strange in Boston right now. I'm not very concerned with him leaving. Like if you ever had a player of his caliber
And how
leaving
weird
right
is
now,
that?
we would all just be up in panic and be like, "Look, LeBron James just left Cleveland and like the entire economy just crashed of the city of Cleveland. Like it definitely took a dip. People probably lost jobs. There was a whole bunch of money like that was at stake. I in Boston it's I don't even know if this is the top headline right now. I'm sure they're still grieving over the Bruins loss, or they're looking forward to TB12 this fall. Like I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, mini camps open yet? Yeah, what's going on there?
Is
We got
that
mandatory camps. What's going on?
is this part of the problem in Boston that we're too no player could really ever be bigger in the city? Like is that an
Uh,
issue?
why would that be an issue?
I don't know. Why doesn't anybody ever want to come play here? Once they play here, I think everybody is happy, but nobody really voluntarily comes to Boston.
Cold. It's dark all the time.
Yeah. All
We don't
right.
always have we rarely have cap space to actually go after free agents. Once we did, we were able to get Al Horford. But I mean, if you go back, we rarely have the apparently Kevin Durant, like we were the second choice, but you're never really sure on that. I think it's just last year was just not a fun season, so that's why everyone's like, okay, even if we take a step back, but if it means lowering expectations that we could possibly achieve, like that could be a lot more fun. It could be similar to 2 years ago, rather than, oh no, we're gonna be really good, we're gonna win 60 games, and then very quickly it turned out to, like, oh no, this isn't gonna happen. Seems like nobody likes each other. Half the time there was no effort given. It just looked like a bunch of pickup guys that kind of playing together, where it's like, no, just didn't get to that loose ball. Well, we'll get them next time. Oh, once the playoffs come around, yep, then we'll start playing for real, and we're gonna flip the switch. That switch never happened.
It's amazing to me of how young our team was, and yet everybody still very strongly believed that we had a switch. Like as if we were veteran enough and experienced enough to say, yeah, all right,
Yeah,
we'll just turn this thing on. When half these guys have
we've been
never done this before and just did it 1 year before for the first time ever, and the ball bounced our way a lot last year. Let's not act like it didn't. We played really well, and Brad did an awesome job coaching his ass off. But it took some luck too. I think some of the shots we made last year were out of desperation and no fear, and in that way kind of resulted in some really lucky stuff going our way. But
with some of the cap space that we got, assuming that we don't go after a Kemba Walker or a Jimmy Butler, someone like that, and we get more smaller pieces, can we get Patrick Beverly? He's a free agent.
do you want Patrick Beverly? Are you sure you want that?
Could we just roll out Patrick Beverly, who is just a menace on defense, shooting a hair under 40% from three, and just have him at point guard, Marcus Smart, and just a couple of guys that like care and are just are just gonna be in people's faces. It's a Tuesday in January and it's super cold out, and people are coming to Boston and they're just all over people, and guys just have no interest in playing against us.
Nobody's ever going to come here. They're going to hate Boston even more if that happens. I'm not against the idea. I don't know who's going to play point guard for us next year. I was really shocked at the NBA draft. We could talk about that real briefly right now. I don't want to get into all the details of it all, but there was a bunch of trades.
A lot of emotion.
This was like
a lot of emotion on draft night.
This was like a fantasy draft with a bunch of drunk college kid doing a bunch of 2-for-1 swaps of like, I'll give you my first round for your third and fourth. Of just one after another going here and there. It was impossible to keep up with at the time. But it's also hard to complain about it because it was exciting. It felt like everything was it felt like a draft, like it was live. It felt like we were all kind of there seeing it happen as it goes. And I was entertained by it. I don't know. That's probably the most fun I ever actually had watching a draft, of just the amount of little trades here and there. It was impossible to understand where everyone was going at the time, but I was into it. I'd rather that than just kind of everything chalking up and going as expected. So I thought that was cool. Do you think any of these trades made sense for anybody? Like, was there any real big winner that night?
I don't like to really get into that too deeply because it's all very much in the nebulous. Oh well, no, they got this guy, and well, he was ranked higher than this, and if you add it all up, it's like, well, until these guys play, and let's see like next year a little bit. I was surprised that the Celtics not only drafted all of their guys, they traded back to then get a fourth draft pick. Listening to all the podcasts from the national guys, the local guys, we're all saying, I really doubt they're going to draft all three. Most likely, they'll package some guys together for a higher pick, or they'll defer to next year, or they'll get some draft and stash guys. They absolutely did not do that. They got four like bona fide college basketball guys. Like Carson Edwards killed it in the tournament. Just was absolutely unreal, just raining it from three. I don't think he's that good of a shooter. He just like got real hot on a high profile, but he's interesting. You got Grant Williams. He's a two-time SEC Player of the Year from
Tennessee.
From Tennessee. I was getting him confused then, because then we got Waters, second round from LSU. He's from New Haven, Connecticut, so that's a little local. And then we got Romeo Langford, who was like a top 15, top 10 prospect coming in, going to Indiana. So apparently he was hurt a little bit. So it was interesting. We drafted all guys that I knew. Even one of the guys we drafted Ty Jerome, who played for Virginia, who just won the national championship. So like I knew him too. So I'm pretty plugged into college basketball, but I always feel like for the draft, there's always guys that's like, who they play for? I don't remember them at all. Like, or they got hurt, like Darius Garland or something like that. But yes, now we got 4 rookies coming in. Is there time for them to play? Are any of these guys going to make a difference?
I don't know. I look at the Robert Williams guy who is still on the roster. It sounds I've heard better things other than being late the couple of times last year. That sounds like it's old news now. But even just watching him play last year and the minutes he got, he didn't seem like a guy that was ready to get regular rotation minutes. It's really hard for rookies. I mean, Tatum.
We have no center right now.
Tatum is a fluke though. Like that doesn't happen. You don't just draft guys and they turn into that. That doesn't work all the time. That's a rarity. Like we're very lucky that it works.
It works with elite guys, top, 3 guys. All the guys that we're getting are all, mid to late first round. Where if one of these guys turned into a rotation player, I think that's like a best case scenario.
Yeah, I don't know. We're rebuilding.
Why did we trade Baines?
I don't know.
What was the thought process there? Because it made no sense. Because first the trade came out, said we're trading. I think it was the 24th pick. It was 22nd or 24th, somewhere around there. We're trading that, and what ended up we got back from was Milwaukee's first round pick next year. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking Milwaukee's still gonna be pretty good next year. So at worst, the 25th pick. So it's like, wait, we traded to next year to trade back, and then like 10 minutes later, then it came in that we also traded Aaron Baines there. So we traded back for a worse pick and threw in Aaron Baines. And somebody told me like, oh well, we're clearing cap space.
For what?
Aaron Baines only makes $5 million for one more year. And yeah, what are we doing?
All right, you know what was really unfair?
We don't have a center.
The most unfair thing about all of that was that Aaron Baines had just opted into the one more year this week, and then that happened
earlier.
on draft. And I think had he known he was on the trading block, there's no way he would have opted in. Somebody would have gave him that money. He could have got that.
And he went to he went to the Suns.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think that was the most unfair thing ever to just tell the guy that just opted in. I think was really just under the intention of like, hey, I want to stay here one more year. I don't think he was opting in trying to get his money. He could have been a free agent, I think, and gotten similar money or if not exact money, just about anywhere else, I think. I mean, Baines has proved enough that he's a role player. I think he would have got some.
Does not belong.
It does not belong in Phoenix.
Does not belong in Phoenix.
No. So
I
feel really bad
on
for
a
that.
team that's like looking for. I mean, how often did he get thrown in there and just? I mean, definitely more than once. Giannis dunked all over his face, but he wasn't afraid to stick his face there. And a bunch of other times, he actually did get stops, and he was very helpful on.
He developed a 3-point shot.
And out of nowhere, last playoffs, surprise. So he's got to get himself on a contender. He could definitely help, and just Phoenix just seems like he's gonna be wasting away.
This is why nobody wants to come here, though. Why does Danny keep sending guys to these no-name teams? Like, why is he doing this kind of stuff?
I feel like why we didn't get anything. We didn't get anything back. I'm still perplexed, and the only thing that makes sense is a salary dump. And then I don't know. Maybe in a week when free agency happens, we'll all go, oh, but I'm not seeing it.
I'm really scared that we're going to spend a lot of money on these second tier guys that are the only ones willing to come here. That doesn't do it for me. I'd rather just have a whole bunch of cap space, and I would have rather have held on to Baines. And if we can't afford to have one more person for that money, I don't know. I don't know who's going to help us more with that money right now. For the price of Baines, who are we going to get that's going to help this team more next year? Because I don't think that name exists. I think Baines is the perfect budget guy you want with a veteran for that money.
You can't go much lower than $5 million.
No. But you know what? We're about halfway through the podcast right now, and I feel weird, very uncomfortable as a Celtics fan right now. I'm not very worried. I'm not really excited for anything either, and that for me is concerning. that I've kind of lost some fire for the team that last year felt like we're going to be awesome for the next 10 years. And now it feels like we're just 3 years out again. That's
Well, never too high, never too low. In a week, it could be completely different, or something happens more down the way. Like think about that Isaiah and Kyrie trade. That didn't happen until midway through the summer, more end of summer.
that was like
You never know what's going to happen. It could change everything around, and who knows? We had high expectations this year, and it did not work. So maybe some lower expectations, and maybe things could work a little better.
All right. Well, you brought it up now. Do you think it's fair to say that we would have been better off keeping Isaiah Thomas? Because that's a crazy hypothetical right now to say. Because he gets hurt. He doesn't play at all the next year.
He hasn't played.
He's older.
He hasn't played. We would have had Colin Sexton. That would have been the difference. But I don't think he. I don't think he really moves the needle so much.
I don't think
unless all these problems are really all Kyrie. But I cannot imagine that they are really just all like removing him is somehow better.
Well, yeah, I don't know what I would have. I don't know what I would ask for Danny to do different. I think he's being scrutinized by a whole bunch of stuff, and I look at all the decisions he's made and like, well, that's what I would have done. Yeah, that makes sense.
You gotta keep doing what makes the most sense, even if the results don't necessarily work out. If you keep making smart moves repeatedly, it's gonna work out.
Well, it's all more or less depressing as a Celtics fan. So let's talk about something that should be a little bit more exciting that most people use to cheer themselves up, and that is ice cream. Although this story turns into a little bit more than just ice cream, we're going to talk about some ice cream wars, about this truck that is being sued or seized or something for millions of dollars in unpaid something. Tell us about some ice cream, Zach. Cheer us all up.
Oh, this is not going to cheer you up. Well, maybe. This story, when I read it, it's got TV show written all over it. Maybe a movie. I'm really thinking TV show is better. I can already kind of plan out the first 2 seasons in my head. There's just a bunch going on here. So in New York City this week, 46 trucks, ice cream trucks, were seized because they was alleged that they have been evading fines. Not just fine. What is it, $50? No. They're saying $4.5 million in fines since 2009, so over 10 years. So that's a lot. That's a lot of money. So then you go a little further, and this is all from just thousands of traffic safety laws, running red lights, parking near fire hydrants, blocking pedestrian crossings. Nothing real heinous, I'm going to say. Just kind of stuff that makes sense, and especially if you're not concerned about it, of just saying, yeah, park in front of the hydrant. You're going to make enough money. You got your spot. Block the lane of pedestrians or whatever, so they have to buy your ice cream. But you keep going down. What this guy was doing was when he received one of these 22,000 tickets,
oh man,
he would just not pay because of these shell companies. So he would just get the ticket. He would unregister the truck, close the company down, and then just open this new company.
Oh man, I'm assuming he used the same name the entire time, right? Like,
well, it's this guy Dimitrios Serkos. So I mean, his name's the same, but he just kept changing the shell companies. So that's kind of just one part of it. There's a further where he's been entangled in a long-running dispute with Mr. Softy Ice Cream because he called his business Master Softy, but basically used the same exact logo, and so they weren't thrilled with that. So that's a little wrinkle in here. I could see that being a plot point, as well as it would get into between the Mr. and the Master and probably other ice cream. There were basically mafia turf wars with the drivers using intimidation to try to carve out the sweetest spots on the streets in New York City.
Now,
how is this not already in production for a TV show? HBO, grab this, please. One of the top guys, grab this. Don't have this be on the CW or something. Have it, do it right.
You want raw and edited ice cream
awesome.
wars? This is what you want? You want on HBO? We need to go full unedited. We need explicit. Ice
I
Cream
don't
Wars.
love the title Ice Cream Wars. It just seems too. I just I can see Ice Cream Wars on like a Discovery Channel or TLC. Like HBO will come out and they'll put a spin on it. Yeah, I can't come up with it quite on the spot. But
Neapolitan Wars is that too much?
uh,
That's probably too much. I don't know if that's the one. I'm not
not
gonna
wars.
spitball.
What's maybe get some maybe another maybe an N word for wars. We're not gonna solve it here, but all that drama just waiting for someone to write about it. It just seems like sign me up. Sign me up. I wanna watch this TV show.
Well, that's a lot of fines. That's a lot of business moves. That's a lot of work to avoid a fine. Like that's this whole. That sounds like a whole second job of starting up something every single time. On top of
Yeah.
the job you already have as the ice cream truck here. I. I'm always kind of amazed that ice cream trucks still do business that well. Like this seems like something that shouldn't work, but I also think that it was in some way a futuristic kind of thing. Like it comes to you, it drives by you, that you can come pick up, or is in a convenient spot that you're already walking by. So that seems like a modern thing. Like there should be more stuff like that. Like it should be a drive by like Amazon truck with like 7-Eleven accessories. Like think of that, like convenience trucks. Is that something? There's not a TV show there, but maybe there's an idea there. So I already kind of like the idea of the ice cream trucks for that. But you got to think that these guys are so stiff in competition right now that. Do you think the other ice cream truck is the one that leaked out the amount of fines this guy has, or this was like a news article? Like, how did we find out about all the fines?
I think that there were just so many of them. I mean, 22,000. It finally just said, hey, and they figured out, okay, this guy in here and followed all the shell companies that, oh, these are not separate entities. This is all one big conglomerate. And then in one sting, grabbed, because they said 40, they seized 46 trucks, but that wasn't even all of his trucks.
When was the last time you got ice cream from an ice cream truck?
Uh,
When was the last time you lived in an area where
Years
there was an
ago.
ice cream truck?
I think there's an ice cream truck around here. I don't know. I wouldn't buy ice cream from an ice cream truck.
No. Where are you getting your ice cream? That's the other
From the
thing.
grocery store.
I think I would hope most people would still try and do that. Is the convenience that much of a trick? Like you were just suddenly reminded by this little. Also, can we update the ice cream song? Like, why does it need to be the old like Nintendo bit like sounding thing? Would it be okay if we made like a new song in 2019, or does it have to
I'm
still be
thinking
that?
because all the ice cream trucks are still from the 80s. There have been no new ice cream trucks made, so they don't have the sound system to be able to do it.
Oh man, see that's like a whole other episode right there, where somebody on the block comes out with a new song, and like, oh man, they got a new
Well,
truck.
I think, and why would you change it? Because if people heard a different song, they'd be wondering, is this weird 7-Eleven truck that this guy started? Like, I want ice cream. And so it's like, that's not the ice cream sound. Nope, not getting out of the house. It's way too hot. I'm gonna stay in the AC. But it's like, you hear that song, you know that song.
Yeah, well, there's I'll write the script tonight. It'll be great. I think there's
There's
something
gonna be
here.
lyrics.
Well, I don't know, not lyrics to the song. I meant the script to like the your proposed TV show right now. I'm gonna send it to HBO.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you meant you were gonna write the script for your new
my-
business plan song or for the new ice cream song. And with script, it made it sound like there's gonna be lyrics.
I think it still needs to be just a tune, just an instrumental. I don't think we need words. You think that song
That's what I was expecting.
that song wouldn't suddenly
that's
be
why
improved by words? I think it would just be improved by actual instruments.
That's why I was shocked. I was really hoping to hear a couple of lines, or at least I was gonna hold it to you to next week. That was I was gonna open the pod of like, hey, Will, let's hear your song.
I'll debut it next Wednesday. Next Wednesday at 3. All right, make sure you check out the website. It'll be on there. LCALCB.com. Check out the website and look at my future song, ice cream truck song. It's coming soon. If I actually had any idea or any skill of how to even do that, I would totally do that for the show. I think that'd be a fun bit. I just don't know if the interns here contain the kind of skill set to do something like that. Neither of us can
Tall
sing
order.
for one, so that's not. We can't even come
Yep.
up with a demo of this. Of like, yeah, just somebody else sing better. If it'll sound somewhat like this. Oh, we got about 20 minutes left in the show here. We got a couple topics left here. Which one you want to talk about here? You want to talk about the permission here, or the was it $1,500 fine with Cam Newton, or is that supposed to be Cam Newton?
Cam Newton.
I think you spelled Neaton.
Did you hear about this Cam Newton thing on the flight?
No, I have not. Please tell me about it. You there?
Yeah, did you hear about the Cam Newton on the flight? With
No,
his
no,
$1,500?
no, I didn't. Go ahead and tell us about it.
Oh,
What happened?
This one right past you. Okay, so this viral video came out. Cam Newton's on a flight, and you can see him walk over to a guy that's in the the emergency exit row, and then allegedly offered the guy $1,500 to switch seats with him, and the guy said no, and so then Cam had to do the, sigh, head down, and do like the Charlie Brown Arrested Development, like walk slowly back to his seat with his head down.
How much would you need to be paid to switch seats? 1,500 sounds like the well above the line for me to move.
I would agree. I would agree. It was a trip from Europe. It was from Paris, so it's a 10-hour flight. So I think that definitely factors in. But I would just think on just like a social kind of interaction of, hey, here's this guy that's 6'4", 200 and something pounds in a regular seat. I'm a regular sized person, and then you're gonna pay me just to switch? Like, easy. Yep. And then you have like a little anecdote, like, hey, I helped out this NFL quarterback. It seems, and what I don't get though is that said he offered 1,500. I'm surprised he didn't continue to go up.
Well, why didn't you ask somebody else?
He wanted to be in the exit row, so I don't think there was that many options.
Oh, wow.
Because he wanted the leg room, obviously. He didn't want to switch from one regular seat to another regular seat.
I don't know. It does make sense that somebody his size would really require an exit row. That also sounds like a travel, like somebody screwed up here kind of thing. Like, you should have got me this seat. I shouldn't be on this plane. I should be on a plane where they can give me that seat. But I've moved for a lot less. One time I moved so a whole family could sit together, and the options I was given was, you can have an aisle seat over here and we'll give you free drinks, or you can have the exit row seat. And I mistakenly took the exit row seat, and then realized, well, they're not going to really feed me drinks here now that I'm kind of responsible for stuff. So I made the completely wrong decision looking back at it. It is roomy, but I'm not a very big guy. I didn't need that much room.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the only one who really wouldn't appreciate the extra space on the exit row. So $1,500 would have got me out of the seat for sure. $1,500 would have got me. I would have sat in the worst seat in the plane. I would have sat in the middle for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a small amount of money for someone like you and me. Especially if I had 10 hours. Yep, that's a while. But hey, put your headphones on, figure it out.
You know what? I would have gave the person next to me half of that just so I could sit next to Cam Newton. Then that would have been my next move. Sure, you could have this seat. And I would ask the person right next to him, "Hey, can I sit next to Cam Newton? Here's what's $750."
I figure you get a picture with Cam. Like, that'd be cool. Like, I'm not even a huge Cam Newton fan, but it just seems like a cool thing to say you helped out somebody famous. And I don't know, maybe the guy was a big Alabama fan or just a very anti Cam Newton fan. I don't know, but yeah, he wouldn't budge.
Have you heard the Will Smith story at the gas station where he forgot his wallet?
I don't think so.
So he forgot his wallet. He didn't have any money, so he asked one of the guys next to the pump next to him if he could borrow some money from him. And the guy gave him the money, and all he had to do was take a picture with him, and then he had money for gas, and then he went home, and that's like the end of the story. But it just seems ridiculous to me that somebody like Will Smith is asking somebody in a neighboring pump, "Hey, can I borrow a couple dollars for gas here?" Like, as if this is probably the only time that he's ever driven in his life. I'm sure he's had a driver every other scenario. How do you feel about that? Does that rub you the wrong way, or does this seem like kind of a more he's an everyday human, this thing happens to everybody sort of thing?
Yeah, it happens.
You're
I'm
sympathizing with
sure.
the
I'm sure someone
celebrity.
like Will Smith with his level of fame, I'm sure he pays more for appearances and might even pay for charge people to take pictures with him.
Yeah, I suppose. Would you have given him the money? Oh,
See,
oh,
I'm gonna say
uh-oh,
I'm gonna see
uh-oh. Hold on.
no,
How do I need to hype up this answer right now. I don't know how I can do that, but everyone listen up right now. If you've lost the attention of the podcast, listen up. Zach's about to make something that's going to make you judge him real bad.
well, because it's like, oh, that's Will Smith. Okay, yeah, he is asking for money. Clearly, he doesn't want to do that. He really does need money for gas. And so I think that's the okay. This is a truth where just last week when I was traveling, there was a guy in the parking lot of a rest stop that was like asking people for money for gas, and I didn't give him money. So I don't know. It's like I'd like to say like, oh yeah, I would for sure like, but I don't know. For some reason I just didn't get a good vibe from him. Like, wait, how'd you get here in a car? But now you need money for gas. So I walked away.
Yeah, it's a strange scenario. I don't even know if there's a right answer here. I can totally understand both sides of it. Of saying no, why should I shouldn't do that. You trust me. Call somebody else. Call anyone on your phone right now. I'm sure they would gladly come down here and give you the money. Or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think there would have been some other way to go around it. But on the flip side of that, how much would you be willing to pay to say you have a Will Smith picture and story, and you're kind of the hero in the story. I helped Will Smith
Especially for
today.
gas. Like you can give him 20 bucks.
Yeah,
Like that for sure gives you I don't know, close to I guess maybe not close, but it gives you a quarter tank of gas. Like that gets you probably where you're going. Like that's not that much money.
it probably gets you to a situation where you can recover your wallet or some sort of you can get money with $20. All right, $20 of gas will get you somewhere to kind of fix the bigger problem here. So
Do you think it would be appropriate to haggle's not quite the right term, but like say he doesn't have his wallet, but he does have his phone, to be like, hey, yo, I'll give you $20 cash if you Venmo me $20 right now.
yeah, you think Will Smith knows what Venmo is?
I don't PayPal. I don't know, like just in general.
Yeah, he has
Do
no
you think that
idea.
would be appropriate, or that's like not socially, not really socially acceptable?
I mean, would you ask anyone else for the Venmo information?
Yeah, I would think so.
Then I guess yeah. If that's something you would
Because
normally do,
if you're really in a spot of like I lost my wallet, I need some cash for, to get gas in the car to get where I'm going. So it's not a matter of I don't have the funds. It's just a matter of I don't have them in the right like configuration. So it's like, oh yeah, I can help you out with that, and do like a little switcheroo of like, here's some cash, Venmo me the money, and then we're both square. I did you a little favor, and we move on with our day.
can you pay me in Bitcoin? Can I get a new cryptocurrency, please?
That seems a little more complicated. You need the whole wallet thing. I still don't know exactly. I don't have my head all the way around that. That seems like it'd be a little more difficult, but I could see that also being a solution if it worked between two parties.
Wow. Well, it's a weird situation either way. I don't know what I would do. I part of me would think I wouldn't be starstruck by it, but then I'm like Will Smith's a very recognizable person. I've seen a whole lot of I've seen him in so many different situations, whether it's music or movies or TV shows like that would probably starstruck me. I would really hope it wouldn't, but it would probably yeah sure Will whatever you need.
Why don't I just give you a ride?
You see, yeah, I wouldn't have thought that idea until I gave him the money and already thought, damn, I could have just had Will Smith in my car for X amount of time, and that would have been priceless, really.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all.
Hey, Will, where are you going, bud? What are we doing?
Did I mention that my name is also Will? We should be friends.
It's the best way to become friends with somebody. Really, your name's Will too? Me too. Small world. Yeah, that's probably not going to work out in anyone's favor. We got about 10 minutes left on the pod here. Let's wrap it up with one more topic. The baseball team, the Rays, have received permission to explore an option of being a two-city team. Which two cities are they looking in expanding to? Is this at least in the same area, or are they looking like a coast-to-coast kind of thing?
Not exactly coast to coast, but two different countries. They would start the year in Tampa Bay, where they currently are, and then would finish the year in Montreal.
Huh. The baseball season is so long that this doesn't seem crazy to me. Like it seems pretty plausible and doable. I just don't know if I was a fan of them. Does it feel kind of weird that you have like almost a new bandwagon of fans just jumping on? And on the flip side
Yes,
of that,
it feels weird that your team for half the year is going to play away games as far as you're concerned.
all right, well the other thing is I don't know how many actual fans they have of where they are currently are right now. Does that even give them, like, I'm sure that would upset some people, but maybe not all of them.
No half measures. You're either in the one city or you're in another city. You can't be in two cities as one team.
So you're very against this. I sense that in your opinion right now. So there's no
This
scenario.
is just so silly.
Is it? It seems very expensive too. So what other stadium are you using here? That seems like a lot of scheduling. If you're a player in a family, does your family live in? Like that's crazy.
Well, that's kind of part of it. Is this is supposed to be a cost saving measure because it's cold in Canada at the beginning of the year, but it's nice in Florida. But then midway through in Florida, you start getting all the rain and the hurricane and stuff. So they would need to build a dome. And so if you did it this way, you could save $350 million not having to build the dome. But I think you're gonna just rack up costs other places, and it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna make sense.
Oh man, I hope this happens so that we have to talk about it. I can't wait. I hope that this works. Now, when also the way this was worded too, receive permission. So the league has more or less okayed this.
So the MLB gave them permission to explore the idea. So they're not against it, but I'm not sure if they actually got close. I think they just have to see more of like the actual financials and maybe probably some logistics of, okay, how would this exactly work? If would you sell half and half season tickets? Would it still be full season ticket? Like what is your more general plan? And I think they might have just said it of like, yeah, sure, we'll give you permission. Like, yeah, these guys, let's see if they can figure it out.
What about playoff games? Do do we get to pick a destination?
Exactly. See, there's a lot of questions. What, do you do like 1-1?
It's like so what they got two different road games here for for the I don't know who's the road team. I don't even know who the road team would be if you play at two different homes. It's,
Yeah, do they get to choose?
What if this becomes a
Like
trend?
depending on who you play.
What if this becomes a trend? Like, what if this is a thing now? Like, what if the Red Sox just suddenly became a coast to coast kind of team? Like the Dodgers and them just swapped.
It makes no sense.
Do you really think the regionality of being that close to a team is really how the fandom works? You can't be a fan from across the country. I'm in San Diego over here, proudly representing the Patriots every Sunday. Got no problem
I
with that.
don't think it's not possible, but I think that it's a big part of it. I think there's more fans of the Patriots in New England than in San Diego.
It is a very obvious barrier to entry. I don't think we can even argue that. I'm just fascinated to see where the story goes. I'm glad we brought this up. I can't wait to follow up on this because something's going to happen here. It's almost going to be like the league is like, yeah, sure, go explore these options. Hopefully these guys make the right decisions and decide that there's no way this is ever going to be worth it. And and then if they suddenly decide it's going to be worth it, it's going to be really funny when the league is like, yeah, you had the option to explore, but there's no way we're okaying this. This seems crazy right now.
What would you even call the team?
I don't know. I didn't even think of that. What about like the whole staff, the training? You have a whole different facility over there. That's
Yeah.
You create a whole other home.
Yeah, imagine how annoying that's going to be. That you have to get a house in Tampa Bay and you got to get a house in Montreal.
Yeah, get your passport ready too. That's
Yep. Taxes?
Yeah,
Sounds like a nightmare. Who's going to want to go play for a team that plays in 2 different cities?
I don't know. I don't know. I like the idea of it though. It's somewhat
It is
laughable.
goofy.
Uh, but you know
It's
what?
a farce.
It's been a more or less goofy of a podcast, and I've enjoyed it. And hopefully, listeners have enjoyed it. I want to
I've enjoyed it.
thank you everybody for as always listening. Check out the website that I'm going to yell out one more time: lcalcb.com. Check it out on there. We got some old stuff on there. There's a whole bunch of videos. We're on YouTube, every other platform you can imagine: Spotify, Google Play, as well as the website. And definitely follow Zach on his Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
yeah. And check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. Lots of good stuff on there. Rates have gone down. Certainly a good time to try and purchase a property. If you're on the bubble right now, I would try and lock in that rate and do your best to act fast. Lots of stuff listed, especially out here. But the music's already playing, Zach, so we got about 2 minutes before we're going to exit out. Anything else you want to add out there? This has been a fun podcast. This has actually probably been the most fun with the least amount of topics we've ever done.
Yeah, I got one more thing related to the NBA free agency stuff. This is not really for you. This is not really for the listeners. This is specifically for Kevin Durant. Kevin, this is Zach. I know you listen to the pod all the time. I know all your burner accounts. So you're probably like 6 of our listeners. It's just really one, just you. That's okay. More listeners, the better. But you should think about coming to Boston. You'll recover next year. You hang out. It'll be fun. Hang out wherever you want. You know, I'm not keeping an eye on you. Brad Stevens really cool. So, you know, but in, you know, year after, you know, those guys are going to be, you know, more playing time with you not around, but you kind of hang out. Everyone gets to know each other. I think it could work. Think about it. Get back to me. All right, later. All right, that's all I had.
All right. Thank you for listening, Kevin Durant. We appreciate you. Can I give him a Tommy point? Or is that too? Or does he got to wait that? Does he got to earn that? You don't just get those, right?
You got to earn that.
You gotta earn that.
You can't just give those away, you know.
We'll be back Wednesdays at 3 Pacific time, the important time. We'll be back.
Little column A, little column B.